What is going on in crypto? It's nearly 20% down on the week, and a lot of the alts are down a bunch more. How is this possible when all of the YouTube and TikTok creators were saying that the bull market was still here and that Bitcoin was going to hit $100,000 by December 2021? It's now at the point where anyone new to investing in crypto and who's invested fiat currency into crypto during 2021 or 2022 is likely sitting on a loss. For investors, both experienced but especially newer, this can be a really daunting experience. In this video, we're going to cover exactly what's going on, none of this manipulation nonsense, just straight facts, and what may happen from here and how we as investors can react. For full context, I've been an investor in cryptos for nearly 10 years now, mainly Bitcoin and Ethereum, but also some exposure to altcoins. It's only a small part of my overall portfolio, but I've long been a believer that ignoring crypto as an asset class from your investment portfolio is irresponsible. Also, boring stuff out of the way, I'm not a financial advisor, this video is purely for educational and entertainment purposes only, but let's get straight into it. So firstly, let's talk $100,000 Bitcoin that everyone seems certain of on YouTube and TikTok. Why did this not happen? What's going on now? Well, firstly, I have to say you should never take such videos and content as gospel. Often these are shared by people with limited investing experience themselves who've never been through a bear market or a recession. And more often than not, there's an agenda behind such content, whether just focused on increasing the price of a crypto or a project, or just creating sensationalist content for more views. However, going back to the argument, one thing that underpinned it was the expectation of continued institutional adoption. Yes, we have seen that, but it's clearly been slower than many had hoped for. This widespread institutional adoption of crypto is what has been a key tenet of the investment thesis for Bitcoin and crypto in general. It is happening, it's continuing, and it's not going away with any market correction. This is part of a larger strategic move. However, this also brings with it a new set of dynamics which become at play. Institutional capital is very different from retail. Ultimately, it's part of a broader allocation of capital across asset classes. Said differently, institutional money managers are now adding a small amount of their portfolio into crypto. This in turn creates the dynamic that broader macroeconomic factors that influence capital allocation now become relevant to Bitcoin and crypto. Changes in inflation, GDP and geopolitical landscapes all change this allocation strategy for managers. Now a slight digression here, but for me, I always saw Bitcoin as a counter-cyclical asset. In other words, it represents a hedge against inflation, protects against concerns that increasing debt within the global economy presents, and also represents a modern store of wealth. Clearly, with increasing participation of institutional capital in the market, when we have increased inflation fears, capital gets reallocated to more resilient, inflation-resistant asset classes, for example gold, precious metals and commodities. These money managers do not see Bitcoin as this yet, and I say yet because Bitcoin is still a very young asset class. Ultimately, the more institutional participation in Bitcoin, the more it just becomes part of that global money system, with capital allocated and reallocated across different pools and asset classes. And ultimately, this is why I believe we're seeing some increased correlation with stocks, and particularly the tech stocks. So, what's next then? Well, nobody has a crystal ball and can give you an answer for what's really going to happen. Anyone who says that they can tell you that is actually just misleading you. Whilst historical performance is not an indicator for future performance, it clearly is helpful. History doesn't repeat itself, but it does rhyme. The dynamics in the crypto market currently are very similar to those of the 2018 crypto crash. Bitcoin fell, and this was mirrored across all of the other altcoins, which fell by a much larger magnitude. How far this can fall, nobody can say. However, I do expect there to be some more challenges across all growth stock markets and crypto markets for at least the first quarter of 2022 at the very least. Now clearly there are loads of great strategies about how you can make money in such markets, which I will share in another video if there is interest, so let me know if there is, but really you need to take action based on your own personal circumstances. In 2017, I held on to all of my assets. I was sitting on some losses, but I actually continued to invest small sums of money into the crypto market, mainly in Bitcoin, on a regular basis, as I still had that underlying belief and conviction in the long-term thesis for Bitcoin. I also held on to my altcoins that I believe were the best projects, and whilst hindsight is perfect, I think that was probably a mistake. Some highly promising projects that I was invested in failed to deliver on anything over the coming years, ICX or Icon being an example of one of those. And yes, I did have one or two winners, Engine Coin being another example of those. The majority of my altcoin investments never recovered to the all-time highs. I still hold these tokens, but I've written off the capital entirely within my portfolio. So, what should you do? Well, this comes down to personal situations. I think there's three real options that you can do over the coming months, and we'll go through the merits and concerns of each of these. Firstly, you could exit the crypto market entirely. This will crystallize any gains or losses, but will enable you to watch the market play out, and if you're overly invested or invested money you can't afford to lose, no matter how painful this is, it may be the best option. You can sit on the sidelines and wait until you start to see the green shoots of a market recovery. Option 2 would be to consolidate your holdings into the main cryptos, being primarily Bitcoin and Ethereum. This will likely provide a greater degree of safety on the basis of historical performance, albeit you will still face the overall headwinds and challenges that are faced by the crypto market overall, so you still maintain that exposure to crypto if you want it. Now the third option is to sit it out and weather it entirely. That is, don't look at the prices daily, you believe in your portfolio and that the projects you're invested in are positioned well and that they can weather any storm. In this scenario, you probably have the greatest degree of downside risk, in my opinion. And given that we typically see Bitcoin rally first during any market recovery, you may end up missing out on some of that if you're sat in some alts which may never deliver their potential. With hindsight, I wish I'd taken action 1 historically, when in fact what I really did was option 3. I've taken a different action this time. Instead, I've sold a large portion of my Bitcoin and Ethereum over the last month and maintained a small degree of exposure in those 2 main cryptos. The only altcoins I hold currently are those which I was holding in 2017 and I've written off. Take the action that's right for you, but remember, don't take the word of any guy on the internet as being correct. Nobody can read the future. I do think one final remark is that it's so important to follow the actual crypto news if you're going to remain actively invested. Learn about the tech developments, the adoption trends and all the dynamics at play. Take that into your own hands. Now over the coming weeks, if there's any interest, and please let me know if there is, I'll pull together either a weekly or fortnightly update video covering these main key developments with no BS, just the main facts. Anyway, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please smash the like button. If you're new to the channel and you aren't already, then subscribe and check out the Patreon for the private Discord and a load of other things. As always, let me know your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. I find it so interesting to hear all the different opinions and perspectives, so please get involved. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in another video.